In the world of debate between Christians and atheists, there's always an implicit agreement with the Christian and the atheist, to which the Christian isn't allowed to tell the atheist that he's like speaking on behalf of the Holy Spirit, meaning like, I have God on my side and you don't, right? The atheist always has to implicitly agree with the Christian that he's not going to tell him that God is literally manifesting in front of him by the body of the Christian. It's a very funny sort of agreement that we always have to like sort of compromise with in order to not sear the conscience of the atheist, so that they can keep talking to us and not just say, you're talking nonsense. You can't tell the atheist, hey, I'm speaking to you on behalf of God, on behalf of the Holy Spirit. It's too zealous. It's too like honest or something like that. Or maybe it's kind of dishonest. You're trying to assert your own power instead of God's power, right? But it's actually sort of disadvantageous to an extent, to which Jean-Paul Sartre has a book to which he calls The Stranger. And the stranger is the concept that two people can actually never get to know each other, because there's always kind of a sense of opaqueness between a person and another. So I can't know what you're thinking. I don't know what you're thinking about me or what you're thinking about yourself with respect to me. And so since I can't know what you're thinking, I can't know really everything about you when we speak, even if we have hours and hours and hours of conversation, we will always remain somewhat strangers to each other, everybody, by the very concept that we ourselves are barred from each other, and even barred from knowing even ourselves. There's always like a void between the two people, according to Sartre. This is the atheist conscience, how the atheist sort of operates. There's always a sort of a distance that must be maintained. You must remain distant, or else we would be lying to each other, to thinking that we know each other, or that we'll ever be true friends or something like that. It's a tragedy of the atheist conscience. I call it like the Sartrean manifestation of the atheist conscience. It's a guilty conscience within the atheist that the Christian, on behalf of God, to which not only is the human person estranged from the atheist, but also God is estranged from the atheist. I am double estranged from your conscience by being a Christian proselytizing, evangelizing to you on behalf of God, on the manifestation of your estranged metaphysical father. But with respect to the Sartrean guilty conscience, on behalf of the gaze, that Sartre calls it, the anxiety of the other, the anxiety of the stranger, lies within himself a sort of hole that where the light sort of peeks through. That because of this secret that the Christian holds between the atheist and himself, the Christian actually knows the atheist very deeply. That I am considering your conscience unconsciously by not telling you, by being polite with you, in which I come and I sort of condescend to you on behalf of where I come from my transcendent mind to your speculative mind, in order to allow me to speculate in your shoes, pretending as if there is no God, as if it's just you and me talking on behalf of some strange religion that I'm trying to talk to you about. With respect to Sartre, the anxiety of your gaze actually exposes the fact that I actually know who you are, right? Because you are anxious because I am looking at you and I know you, and you don't want me to know you. You're anxious because I love you, right? And maybe you don't want to be loved because maybe you find yourself loveless or unable to be loved because you can't love yourself, because you don't know yourself. On behalf of the miracle of love of the Holy Spirit that happens between the debate of the atheist and the Christian, there is always a piercing of the conscience, questions to the heart, such as, why do you hate God? What do you have against God? Do you think you could like surrender your guilty conscience? Do you think you could maybe surrender your intellect for a moment to pray with me? Or maybe you could help me understand your mind a little better, so I can maybe help you understand why I'm so happy with Jesus. You know, why do you think that you can be happy without happiness itself? Don't you know that Jesus Christ died on the cross in order to mend the gap of stranger between you and God, between you and me? This is the piercing of the conscience. The cross beats Sartre. You know, this is why it's so anxious to the Marxist. You know, Derrida, he has to like sort of completely dismantle the concept of the cross by critiquing the concept of phallogocentrism, which is just fancy word for Christian ethic, for the ethics of Christianity based on the cross, which is a phallic object, the cross. You know, it's a very anxious topic for the atheist to actually speak on a sort of even playing field with the Christian, with respect to intellect, with respect to otherness, with respect to love, with respect to relationship, you know, with respect to the reality of God existing, God being something real. To me, you know, he has to sort of navel gaze and ask and demand for evidence when I'm saying, wait, I'm saying like he's as real as the wind is real to me, or maybe he's as real as you are to me. You know, it's not like I can give you evidence. It's like me trying to give you evidence that I'm standing in front of you. You know, this is a very anxious topic for the atheist. The atheist has to sear his conscience and almost pretend like you don't exist.